Well, hello there and good day. Thank you so much for joining me at Dystopian Report, the place where we talk about the nightmare world we have found ourselves living in. I'm your host, Jesse Pullman, and today is Monday, December 22nd, 2025 at about 5:30 p.m. EDT as I make this video. Today we're going to talk about two horrifying stories with all the content warning flags, which dominated this weekend and how they are connected. We're going to talk in broad strokes about both the Epstein files release and the censorship of 60 Minutes' report on the CCOT concentration camp. The key here is that these stories show how both official government media releases and so-called free press media releases are being shaped to benefit the Trump regime's control over the thoughts of its citizens, i.e. us. First up is the more famous one, the one that we've been waiting on for a while. The Epstein files were ordered to be released by federal law, and as of the due date last Friday, that's like a few days ago, some of them were released. Now, not all of them, and of course, with so many redactions as to make lawmakers believe the law was intentionally disobeyed, but there were files released. Let's talk about them a little bit. Exclusive. One Jane Doe tells CNN she is mortified that her name is unredacted multiple times in the Epstein files. This is an article by MJ Lee of CNN Politics. And you can see here in this picture, it's a lovely picture on the center of your screen, that newly released documents from disgraced late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, including a sheaf of entirely redacted pages, are seen in this handout released by the Justice Department and printed and arranged for photograph by Reuters in Washington, D.C. on December 19th. Isn't that an interesting contrast? You have a victim claiming she was not redacted when she was supposed to be redacted. Meanwhile, on this screen, you have pages of just black text. Blacked out pictures, just nothing. Isn't that suspicious? Brian Tyler Cohen, who makes content on YouTube and other places, said he just tried to search for Trump's name in the Epstein files library on the DOJ website. You'll be shocked to learn there's no mention of him whatsoever. In fact, someone else, Charles GetCovered-BA, I don't know what that person's deal is, searched for Epstein and found nothing. Now, it's my understanding that some of these search engines may have been filled in at a later date. Maybe they searched this early on and those names weren't indexed yet. I don't know. But that kind of just goes to show you that they're keeping a lot of secrets. I'm not an expert on the Epstein files law, but it's my understanding that only victims are allowed to be redacted and maybe their families. Certainly not anyone in power who has power, but I've heard that that's been happening. I guess we'll see. I know there's talk of inherent contempt of Pam Bondi. I know there's talk of impeachment of Pam Bondi. So we'll just go with that for now. And we'll just leave this to the side as, hey, look, they're doing the censorship thing. But that's not the only censorship here. CBS News, which was recently taken over by Paramount, which recently had Barry Weiss installed as its head. Their flagship information program, 60 Minutes, was scheduled to take a fresh look at the CCOT concentration camp America uses in El Salvador. I'm pretty sure we've talked about that on this channel before. CBS News, their new head is a known ally of regressive interests, Barry Weiss, very famously conservative. And she unilaterally spiked that report shortly before it was set to air. Let's take a quick look. You got an NPR article, CBS News chief Barry Weiss pulls 60 Minutes story sparking outcry by David Folkenfilk. It's an interesting name. Folkenfilk. It's like telling a story. Folk story. Just a day and a half before it was set to be broadcast, new CBS News editor-in-chief Barry Weiss pulled a planned 60-minute investigative segment centering on allegations of abuses at an El Salvadorian detention center, they're calling it, where the Trump administration sent hundreds of Venezuelan migrants last March. Now, I'm going to pull on reporting by Anna Bower here, senior editor at Lawfare Media, who has a copy of Sharon Alfonsi's emails. Sharon Alfonsi is an investigative reporter for 60 Minutes. She says, News team, thank you for the notes and texts. I apologize for not reaching out earlier. I learned on Saturday that Barry Weiss spiked our story inside CCOT, which was supposed to air tonight. We, Ori, I don't know who that is, and I asked for a call to discuss her decision. She did not afford us that courtesy or opportunity. Our story was screened 5 times and cleared by both CBS attorneys and standards and practices. It is factually correct. In my view, pulling it now after every rigorous internal check has been met is not an editorial decision, it is a political one. We requested responses to questions and or interviews with DHS, the White House, and the State Department. Government silence is a statement, not a veto. Their refusal to be interviewed is a tactical maneuver designed to kill the story. If the administration's refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike a story, we have effectively handed them a kill switch for any reporting they find inconvenient. If the standard for airing a story becomes the government must agree to be interviewed, then the government effectively gains control over the 60 minutes broadcast. We go from an investigative powerhouse to a stenographer for the state. These men risk their lives to speak with us. We have a moral and professional obligation to the sources who entrusted us with their stories. Abandoning them now is a betrayal of the most basic tenet of journalism, giving voice to the voiceless. Sound off. CBS spiked the Jerry Wigland interview, I don't remember what that is, due to legal concerns, nearly destroying the credibility of this broadcast. It took years to recover from that low point. By pulling the story to shield an administration, we are repeating that history, but for political optics rather than legal ones. We have been promoting the story on social media for days. Our viewers are expecting it. When it fails to air without a credible explanation, the public will correctly identify this as corporate censorship. We are trading 50 years of gold standard reputation for a single week of political quiet. I care too much about this broadcast to watch it be dismantled without a fight. Sharon. First of all, Sharon, you have my sincere applause. That was very well said. Second of all, let's take a sip of my tea. If I'm not mistaken, Trump sued CBS News for, surprise, surprise, claiming he was censored. And, as I'm about to show you on screen real quick, oh, it looks like I'm using an ad blocker. Oh no, I'm using an ad blocker on CBS News. That's okay, I just want the headline. Paramount, President Trump reached $16 million settlement over 60 Minutes lawsuit. Gee, he's sued 60 Minutes before. So that's why they ran it through the lawyers so many times, to make sure it would not get them sued, or if it did that, they could win. And Barry Weiss still spiked the story. That kind of tells you that she has an agenda here, doesn't it? The argument is basically, well, the government didn't address the story, so without getting the government's take on things, we don't have a complete story. But, like, this author for the 60 Minutes investigative branch said, you're handing them a kill switch. You're handing them a kill any article you want switch. So, with that in mind, when you have both the official government publication wings and the so-called free press colluding to keep crimes against children and humanity a whole secret, you have a problem. That's what we have heading into this holiday season and this new year. Now, things we can do about that, because there is no fate but what we make. That is the theme of the Dystopian Report as we enter into our 60th episode, at which point I do want to say, like, do subscribe. I'd love to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Share this to your friends. I know this talking point going into Christmas dinner, so you can say something about it if you want, but things you can do about it, well, you can call Congress. Right now, the House of Representatives is particularly prone to pressure to impeach Pam Bondi for not doing the things she needed to do as head of the Justice Department with regards to the Epstein files. You can obviously cancel your Paramount subscription if you still have one. You can refuse to watch CBS News. You can refuse to give them credit. You can ad block them if you want. You can do a lot of things. But there is no magic button to this. This is simply the powerful withholding their crimes from the powerless. And the most important thing you can do is know that that is a thing to be aware of. Know that that is a thing you should fight against. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. If you found this video helpful, please do hit the like, share, subscribe, friend, follow, or whatever buttons. Really does help this channel grow. It lets me know what you're watching so I can keep making more of it. And I really do appreciate it from the very bottom of my heart. Links are in the description down below to all of these sources, so you can find them at your leisure. Thank you all so very much for your time, and as always on this channel, pieces.